Bonjour les amis. Today I'm going to talk about whether or not a White Zinfandel is considered a rosé. And I get this question all the time. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this in this video. And you know what? No matter what I say, I'm going to make some people mad because there are some strong opinions on both sides of the fence. Okay, so if I'll tell you what I think. But if what I tell you makes you mad, that's okay. Let me have it in the comments. I'm ready for you. So both sides of the argument have valid points. Okay, so before I tell you what I think, let me go into the points, let me go into the arguments that both sides make about whether or not a White Zinfandel is a rosé. So let's start with why someone would say that White Zinfandel is not a rosé. And when I say White Zinfandel, I'm talking about the White Zinfandel we all know that, was invented in California in the 1970s. So first of all, White Zinfandel, if you look at the White Zinfandel versus a Provence rosé, they look different, they taste different, they're made using very different techniques. White Zinfandel comes from, well, the traditional one I'm talking about here comes from California. In California, more than 80% of the wine is either red or white. About equal amounts red and white, and less than 20% is rosé. So White Zinfandel is actually made, it's like a byproduct of the production of red Zinfandel. All the vineyard management, how the vines are pruned, how the grapes are harvested, when they're harvested, how they're pressed, all of that is all geared towards making a really good red Zinfandel. And when the juice and the skins all go into the fermentation vat, some of that juice is bled off to concentrate the red Zinfandel. Again, the goal is to make an amazing red Zinfandel. Well, that bled off juice, instead of just getting thrown away, is vinified separately and sold as a White Zinfandel. Okay, now that's very different from the way rosés in Provence are made. Almost 90% of the wine production in Provence is rosé. Okay, so this is a rosé producing region. So again, vineyard management, the way the vines are pruned, the way the grapes are harvested, when they're harvested, how they're pressed, everything is geared towards making a good rosé. See the difference? And they're pressed differently. They're pressed using the pressage direct or direct press method. Okay, they're not crushed first and put into a fermentation vat and then bled off. Okay. Direct press method basically means that the grapes are put into the press hole and pressed. Why do we do that? Well, because it allows less of a color transfer from the skins to the juice, because here in Provence we want a really pale pink color, right? So that direct press method is going to help us with that. The entire way everything is made is different. So you have a red wine making region, making a wine as kind of a byproduct of red wine making, versus a rosé making region just focused on making a good rosé. So those very different winemaking methods yield very different results in terms of color and taste. Now, what about the other side of the fence? Why would people say that White Zinfandel is a rosé? Well, the saignée method is an accepted method for making rosé. So just because it's made from saignée, that doesn't disqualify it from being a rosé. And also, why not allow a wide range of styles and techniques for a rosé, just like we do with red and white? Look at how many different styles and techniques there are for making red and white. Look at how many different colors. Let's compare Beaujolais Nouveau with the Bordeaux. Can't get any different, with styles, colors, how they're made, but they're both considered red wine. What about ice wine? That's made very differently than other types of wine, but we still call it a white or a red. If you think about how many different styles there are for red and white, how many different colors, how many different levels of sweetnesses. There's even sparkling or still, and we all consider that red or white. So why can't we allow the same diversity for rosé? The International Rosé Research Center in Provence analyzes rosés from all over the world and shares the latest rosé making techniques with winemakers on every continent. And they use a nuancier, or a color chart, to identify a rosé's color when they're evaluating it. And you can see what a wide range of colors are recognized as rosé. In French, the word rosé means pink. So here in France, we call any pink wine a rosé, no matter how it was made or where it comes from. The Rosé Research Center recognizes White Zinfandel as a type of rosé wine. Now, what do I think? Well, the official definition of rosé is a little fuzzy. Even the Rosé Research Center in Provence hasn't come up with an official definition that satisfies everyone. My personal definition is a pink wine made from predominantly red or black grapes. So under my definition, a White Zinfandel would be considered a rosé, even though I personally tend to call New World rosés blush wines just to distinguish between them and the Provence styles. But yes, technically I would agree they are all rosés. Now, but that being said, there are some wines that are labeled as rosés, marketed as rosés, that I would definitely not consider to be legitimate rosés. And again, this is according to my definition. For example, there's an IGP wine that's made near my house. It's a little winery. They make good wine. It's an organic winery near my house. It's not AOP. It's not within the AOP appellation area. So it's an IGP wine, which is a different classification of wines in France, and they are not subject to the same rigorous laws as AOP. So they can get away with doing things differently, right? Not saying it's bad. It's just they're not held to the same laws. So it's made from 60% Black Muscat and 40% Grenache. So, okay, it's made from red or black grapes, and it's labeled as a rosé. So far, so good. But it has no pink color whatsoever. It's totally white. Okay, you can hold it up to the light. I mean, it's not pink. It's white. And it doesn't have any of the typical notes that you would find in a rosé from around here. Notably red fruits. You're not getting any red fruits. You only get white wine aromas in this wine. It's just white fruits, stone fruits, lychee, honey, that kind of stuff. You're not getting any, it's just a white wine aromas, and it tastes like a white wine. So if it looks like a white wine, if it smells like a white wine, and if it tastes like a white wine, then guess what? It's a white wine, and I don't care what kind of grape it's made from. Look at Pinot Grigio. That's not made from white grapes. Pinot Grigio is made from like reddish, dark pinkish reddish grapes, but it's a white wine. I mean, look, if it looks like a white and it's not pink and it looks like a white, smells like a white, tastes like a white, as far as I'm concerned, it's a white, and I don't care what kind of grapes it's made from, okay? So another rosé that I would not accept as a legitimate rosé is a pink wine that's made from white wine, but that just has some red wine added to it to make it pink. I mean, look guys, I mean, that's a white wine that just has a pink color. It's a pink colored white wine, right? It's white, and the way they just add some red to make it pink. I mean, no, that's white. That's a white wine. I don't care if it has a pink color. It's made from white grapes, and they just add some red to make it a color, and that's not. Now, here in Provence, I mean, for an AOP Provence rosé, that's totally illegal. You cannot make rosé that way, okay? So if you're drinking Provence, an AOP Provence rosé, there's no way you're going to get a rosé made that way. But that's not illegal in some other regions. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't care if it has the word rosé on the label, and I don't care if it's pink. As far as I'm concerned, that's a white wine that just has some pink color in it, okay? So I hope that you have found this to be helpful. If I've rubbed you the wrong way here, let me know in the comments. Also, if you found it helpful, let me know that too. And tell me in the comments what you'd like me to cover next time. And until then, bonne journée et à bientôt. Have a great day and see you again soon.